Hi, and welcome to the Ascension Playground. My name is Ursie, and today we've got Robbie on the playground and a new friend, Haruko, Blue Star Child. The three of us would love to share with you a little bit about Haruko's journey, her artwork, and maybe even time for some flute music. The reason we're coming together on the playground today is to help support inspiration, creativity, and even a little peace as things outside in our world might be a little upside down. We just want to make sure we can offer this gift of love and harmony to anyone out there listening. So again, thank you for coming to the Ascension Playground. And without further ado, I'd like to just start with Haruko. This is our second get together to play together, and I want to thank you for coming back.
And I want to thank you for inviting me back. And we actually have the white vest together this morning.
I'm assuming you think that it's cold out in California where you are.
I'm in Northern California, so it's pretty cold.
Like 50 degrees.
Yeah. 54 degrees. It's time for the vest. So you're right. I'm in like the Monterey Bay area. Haruko is up in Mount Shasta, California. And Robbie, where are you sitting today?
Well, I am in Minnesota, and so we Minnesotans are amused when you think that 52 or so is cold. So.
Oh, same.
Yeah, whenever we have to turn on the heater, that's winter. Well, the joy of having Haruko, Blue Star Child, in her gallery come join the playground. Haruko, when we first talked, you mentioned to me being up at the San Francisco Art Institute studying art in photography, and then things happened where suddenly you were just drawing bunnies, and people in the photography department were wondering, like, maybe we should put her in a new genre. And so I went back and I studied a little bit about this fairy tale of connecting the moon mythology, because my mom's family, my mom was born in China. And so that fairy tale about the moon goddess, I found it, and there's this little bunny that would work for the moon goddess, and it would have a mortar and pestle, and it would just create white cakes, either mochi or rice cakes. And I wrote it down. It's like, oh my God, some of the mythology is like, it's not just food, it's an elixir that then would be given to the humans. So this idea of the humans and the moon, and it's the divine feminine, the lunar sensitivities. So I was hoping that you might have brought a little picture to share with us of your like bunny image.
Wow. Yes. So am I sharing that now? The earlier work.
Earlier work on the playground with Haruko's bunny. Oh, look, there it is. If you feel comfortable, would you just tell us a little bit? Because it looks quite delightful and fun and childlike.
Right. And, it's whimsical and very primitive in a way. And this is how I started it. And this one, I don't know, she has like cosmic chakra inside of her. And it feels like it's about to birth something, because this was the earlier work. So, yeah.
What's at the top of her, between her ears? There's a little round. Is that a crown?
I don't know. It's just fluffy hair. Full of hair. I do things that I don't understand sometimes, but just need it have something there. You can interpret in any way you like.
Yeah, I see the metaphor of the egg and the notion of birthing that you have that geometry around, the verticality of the chakras there. And it looks like the upper chakras are kind of held in a yellow or a golden light. That's kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, up by the throat chakra, huh? Like,
And usually that is like a moon as well. I use a lot of crescent moon. So, um, yeah, represent some kind of, the cosmic light
mm.
reflecting through the moon.
Well, I'm glad they placed you in new genre because,
Actually, I placed myself
oh,
in.
you placed yourself. Okay, excuse me. I love it because it says you're looking at it, you're trusting what's coming through and going with it. I mean, to thine own self be true. And it's so hard as an artist to not just conform to what you think other people want you to be. And right away, having raised children, I recognize those chakras as those little toys that the kids would throw like
Oh,
a little donut shape onto
definitely.
an inner cycle. So it's very playful.
Hmm. Yeah.
So this year was about 2000. Is that when you created that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
22 years ago. Well, it's including the rainbow and it's got the mythology of the rabbit. Anything else about that fairy tale and creating the food for humanity that comes up for you right now, Haruko?
Well, I think I shared in our first chat, but the moon is bringing the light, reflecting the light from the sun, and the sun is connected to another bigger sun, and a bigger sun, a great central sun, and great 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 central sun. So it's coming from the source, information from the source through our sun in our solar system, and then reflecting gently through the moon, and that information and the light brought to us on the earth. And so the fairy tale, the folk tale, the mochi just represents the wisdom, the gift from the source, the yumminess of the cosmic, information, anything that we can receive and we can embody is really, shown through the sun, and then the moon gently, in a feminine way, bring that gift to the earth. And so I feel like I am receiving that gift into the sketchbook as an art form.
Mm.
So, in a sense, it really is a language of light. And so you refer to this reflected light, and I know that we chatted just a little bit, but it's an emotional. The artwork kind of stems from emotion or energy, from an emotional energy, and I find that just fascinating. So,
Yeah, and in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. So it's really been a gradual, discovery and adventure through the art creations.
I love how the work being from 22 years ago, revisiting like the spiral back.
I think everybody froze.
Yeah. Can you hear it now, Haruko? Oh, okay. Well, I think we're back now. Sorry for the technology details. We're just going with the energy that's up on this day, February 26th.
Mhm.
The year 2022 carries the master number. There's 3 2s, and Robbie and I have talked about this on the playground and privately. The 22 also carries the divine feminine codes. And so it's so exciting to see the moon, when we talk about the yin and the yang energy, that the feminine receptive light this light language. You were already showing us multidimensionality way back before even people were probably using that word, I would imagine.
Yeah. Uh, I thought, I was just in my own imagination for a little while, but it was very joyful, and my heart was just, jumping like a bunny's whenever I was drawing bunny. So why not follow that, right?
Why
So
not follow it?
I just hop along with the bunnies and went to different bunny holes, rabbit holes, and in a fun way, and discovered many worlds. And now I kind of understand a little bit more, you know, what I am doing, what I have been doing. So,
Yes, and your artwork has certainly evolved. Maybe now would be a good time, possibly, to show another piece of your artwork, which is more recent.
More recent, yes.
Shall we do that?
Yeah, that sounds good. Now, Haruko, this next one is called.
new Angelic Codes, that's what I named it. And
And what year did you draw this one?
I started drawing in 2013, no, 12. 2012. Let's see. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But completed in 2000, maybe 14, something like that.
Wow. Well, this is how I found you through Lauren Gailey's conversations with Lowell Johnson, who said he saw this particular piece, along with another one that we talked about, in the inner earth of Talos within Mount Shasta. Now, some people don't know what inner earth or Talos is. And when I spoke with you off camera, you mentioned something about um, that was interesting, but maybe not necessarily content that you would ascribe to this piece. Did I get that wrong, or how would you like to describe this?
So, this one, I was receiving a lot of information from the time of Christ. The reason is that it has a lot of information and energy of Mary Magdalene, and that time, people on the earth was not really ready to receive the coding so much, but they seeded it, that time, and now that seed is blossoming within us in divine feminine. No, whatever the physical body we have, man, woman, it doesn't matter, but that seed is sprouting, and that information, that energy that they placed upon, 2000 years ago, um, that's the energy that I was feeling. And angelic supports was big, around that time. Mother Mary is like mother of, all the angels. And also I feel the Melchizedek, which is more like a seraphim. It's more bigger, angelic, energies that was supporting around that time. Just my understanding. I'm not really sure 100% if I am correct, but that's the feeling I got, from this initial, how do you say, initial, like
Download?
yeah, download in a way that I felt in my heart. So I put them all together. So you can kind of see the cross in a way,
Yeah.
and then there are different energy like a totem pole, placed upon this drawing, um, to express whatever that massive, information.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's it's a fascinating process. And um, so, would you say, Haruko, then that, it took 2 years to bring it to completion? And so when you're creating this, um, in an intuitive sort of a way, you continue to receive downloads in terms of information about how it's supposed to evolve, the detail that is supposed to be incorporated into it, and that type of a thing.
Right. So, as we shared before this talk, I collect many, sketches, about 11 by 14 sketches over the years. And so when I feel the theme like this, I somehow find which sketches wants to come together, which design will, work out to represent this big theme that I'm receiving. So I start from there, and so it's like a transformer, and then it becomes the complete figure in a way. And when I started in 2012, I was in Mount Shasta, and I just couldn't figure out, many of the lines. And interestingly, I was strongly guided to move to Sedona temporarily, and I knew it would be about 3 years. And the reason was that I needed to really get cleared emotionally in some way. I had to list, let go many more heavier energy. And Sedona assists people because it has fire energy, so it just assists us to move a little faster in the emotional clearing, process. So clearly, I was guided to go there, and something happened within me and started to get more clear. And there's the one point like, okay, I think I'm gonna open this drawing and see what other lines I can see. So I completed there in Sedona. So that was in 2000, probably 14.
I noticed that you have a strong vertical axis and a horizontal axis. Actually, there's kind of a cross that is kind of created here. And what is at the very bottom of the painting? I noticed that this stems from a series of circles.
Um, Life force coming from the earth. It's there's so many ways to interpret. So um, I don't really sometimes be able to explain what exactly they are, every symbols. And so it could be universe, standing on the universe, or receiving the life force from the bottom. Um,
Wow. I, I'm fascinated by your thought that the inspiration is going back to the time of Jesus Christ. And so when I think about we're in 2022 again, following the numbers of 222, and the path that Jesus shared as a way shower, perhaps of love, um, with the Magdalene and the mother energy and angels and seraphim and Melchizedek. This is remarkable that you're sharing this with us today. And I'm just wondering if people focus on this, let's say they bought one of your posters or an image from you of this, not the original, but a reproduction, and they have it around in their energy field. Do you think that this might help them with a download of some of those initial codes, the new angelic codes that you were talking about that were seeded and are now blossoming?
yes. What I was told recently from spirit realm, these works as like a main key to activate each one of us. And we have, you know um, I didn't know that, but I feel like I've known. And also they've been activating me as I look at them, even years later. because we are energetic body, and we are really transforming ourselves and changing all the time. And so every time we change, then we look at this, and this one has this infinite information beyond time. And so I always receive something, from looking or being present with that, these designs. So yeah, I'm sure whoever feels called to, look at this design, just go for it. And even though you don't really understand anything, because we are just, not we are just so multidimensional, and we don't really quite understand how big we are. And so, but allow this, information to come into our field, and be playful about it. It's like, oh, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm gonna receive something, and even though I don't know exactly what it is, but I know that it's gonna be for the highest good, for that, who I will become and who I am. So that's how you can.
Nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. This is like having, let's say, a router in your house. You don't have to understand the router. I'm just using that as an analogy, right? But we know it works. And this balancing of the circular feminine lines, let's say, with the harder angular lines of the masculine, is a beautiful balance. And so for me, when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, yes, I see the cross of Christ, but I also feel this kind of activation of the angelic, balancing masculine, feminine.
Yes, and then if you go more closer, if you have a poster, or if you come to my gallery, there's so much, intricate design inside, and it's really fun to look at. Being in spiritual, sometimes we get a little too serious. Oh, Jesus, Mary Magdalene or angel. It's like, oh, it's just a playful, just be curious and open, and just enjoy looking at this design. And that's what I recommend.
Yeah, I think that I think there is an energy of flow connected with it. So, for example, if you start at the bottom and you kind of move up, there are clusters of geometry. So, if you just kind of move up vertically, you'll sense the geometries will generate a different either emotion or energy. And so, it's kind of an interesting, shall we call it, experience as you kind of move up through the artwork. And then, as you say, Ursula, as you back out and look at it as a holistic piece.
I love it. Just makes me feel happy that it feels playful, and yet my mind can't, you know, uh, it tries to understand all the little pieces, but it's not that way. Last time we spoke, Haruko, we said it's more, I said more, maybe it's more like a magic mirror. You're trying to capture the whole essence, but sometimes you zoom in on a part for that moment. But as we age and we come back to our own mirror, we're going to notice different things. And then I don't know if you know, but Robbie works with the Akashic records. So he is able to have one foot in this realm and another realm, and listens in and does professional readings. So when you talked about the time of Christ, I wondered, oh, from an Akashic perspective, Robert, is there something you're tuning into?
Well, actually, it's kind of interesting how many people that I've done readings for that have some direct experience, either with Jesus of Nazareth or being around at the time that he was on earth. And so it's very interesting. And oftentimes in those cases, that experience, uh, it left them with an energy. It left them kind of with it began to shape them. So it's an experience that's resident within their Akash, and it tended to shape them as
Hmm.
all our experiences do. So
Well, I would love to invite Haruko, if you feel comfortable. I would love to enjoy some of your flute music. Maybe as we again look at that beautiful new Angelic Codes piece. And we could invite anyone who's watching to come take a closer look at the image as Haruko offers this musical intonations to help potentially activate the visual that we're going to see. So who knows what that could open up as a key or a doorway into your own journey. So how does that sound?
Yeah, is there a piece of artwork, Haruko, that you would like to kind of show us? Is there a piece of artwork that would resonate with your music? Or we can go back to, of course, the image we just looked at too.
Yeah, we can go back to the image that we looked at.
Okay, that's what we'll do.
And may I add one more comment about this drawing? Um, we were talking about cross, but also I see it, since I completed in Sedona, where, Native American, wisdom is, really powerfully embedded in their lands. And I feel that four directions, instead of cross, also it's the four direction, and above and below. And then in the center is us, connecting with every directions and heaven and earth. And that represents us. And that's how I look at the cross, instead of just the cross for, Christ's time or in a Christian way. I feel more now, look at it, I feel that interpretation more strongly today.
Yeah, I sense that too. It's more about being human, the cross of matter and spirit, being in this world, 3D. It's really quite stunning. So it's not tied to a specific religion or specific personality, but it's us being human. So working with the new angelic codes moves us from Piscean age of Jesus to now Aquarian bridge, where we're really looking at more Metatronic unity as we go forward. So with the angels becoming more angelic as our carbon-based body becomes much more crystalline is one story. So perhaps again, as we listen to your beautiful music and look at this particular piece, let's embrace the powerful downloads that may come through.
All right.
Thank you, Haruko. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Man, I hope you'll come back and play on the playground with us with more music and maybe singing next time.
Yes,
That was
thank
powerful.
you. Thank you so much for invitation, and thank you, Robert. Nice to meet with you for the first time, and I like to get to know more. So,
It's been a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much.
oh,
Yeah.
thank you. May I say something about flute that when I was playing, especially this two time, I was connecting deeply with Egyptian, um, energy. Excuse me. And so, Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, they were priests, in Egypt, and I don't know, I was just brought there, by playing flute, and it was very, I felt the unification more and more, more of the energies that they put in that time. It's really really precipitating into our body, and we are really embodying and bringing it all together, and that's what I felt. So I don't know about you guys, but I just wanted to share that.
Robbie, do you want to share your experience?
Um, I was actually, when I was looking at the drawing, I really enjoyed the notion of um, kind of moving up through the drawing. And it's almost like there are these centers. So you could almost think of it possibly physically as an experience where you might move up through your chakras. But there's, as you begin to kind of zoom in, maybe we can zoom in just for a sec. I'll try something. If I let me share that just one more time, just for a second here. And let me see if we can zoom in and get a little bit more detail.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I was kind of looking at this kind of, there's a variety of geometries here, but it's very interesting. And if you sit back, it's kind of, and then of course the center that we talked about, the four corners. And the wonderful thing is that you've mentioned this before too, Ursula. It's kind of the integration of the masculine and feminine energies. It's kind of interesting. Those energies be dead. If I considered this, perhaps
Mm-hmm.
this is, if I thought of this as the heart center, these energies begin to merge kind of
Yeah.
within that, in that realm.
Yes. Hmm. Definitely.
If I thought of this as the, I thought of this as the heart chakra. This is kind of
Hmm.
interesting. Again, this is a wonderful integration of both the curvilinear as well as the very hard geometries, or an integration again at the throat of the masculine and feminine divine energies.
Mm.
I can't help but think of this as our crown chakra up here.
Yes. Hmm.
So
And that crown chakra area, I feel that Melchizedek energy there.
Mm.
up here, yeah, yeah.
That's for
And I
me.
couldn't help but notice the double tetrahedrons. And of course, this is very Melchizedek. Um,
Like light body Merkabas. Well, and I see that geometer's compass, at the top. It reminds me of, the Masonic compass. And I always thought, well, God, G-O-D, the geometry of design. For me, that helped kind of like we are all kind of this composite of various geometries. And if I could just make a little note of my experience when the music came, my heart just opened. It was the song of the Native American Indian that came through, and it was almost like a melancholic love cry. Like it reminded me of Carlos Nakai and his work. So I was right back in Sedona. And then I soft gazed with like half or almost closed eyes into the center of your piece. And I could almost see this pulsing of light and singing a little bit of white angelic forms from the center, which reminded me, Robbie, of our discussions privately about Cryon's teachings about the angelic human, where we're more of a collective instead of singular, and maybe a composite of all of our lifetimes and experiences instead of, one lifetime solo. But Haruko, your piece is to be experienced perhaps on multiple levels, not just, our thinking mind, but the music coming in. That was like the big, okay, the engine just started. Like I see the car and I might not know how to get into the car, but when the music goes with your image, I'm suddenly able to like understand how to like learn how to drive your vehicle.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's definitely a multi-dimensional playground, isn't it? Everybody experience different things, and it's just
Mhm.
joyful. Feeds our soul, feeds our heart.
Yeah, that's very true. And so when we're looking at the drawing and we're looking at the geometries, it's really a light language. So it's a language that speaks to us on a multi-dimensional level. Um, it's kind of interesting. Your experience, Ursula, suggests that the music is a catalyst. So the music becomes a catalyst to kind of move us into that multi-dimensional space.
Yeah, so maybe next time I'd love to hear you sing, Haruko. So you think you'll want to come back and play with us again?
Invite me anytime, please.
Okay, well, from our hearts to yours, thank you, thank you, thank you, and see you next time
Thank
on
you.
the Ascension Playground.
I know.
Bye.
Bye, playmates.
Have fun.